Welcome to AutoTruth, revealing the road ahead.
Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this. Today we're going to completely unpack the massive hype and honestly, the sometimes gritty reality behind one of the absolute most talked about cars on the market right now, the MG4 EV. We're going to look closely at the data, the real-world owner reports, and the independent expert audits to see if this budget disruptor is genuinely worth your hard-earned money or if it's maybe a little too good to be true.
I mean, it's the huge question everyone is asking right now, right? Historically, the electric vehicle market has basically been dominated by these really high-priced luxury options, which makes the barrier to entry just incredibly steep for your average driver. But then, the MG4 arrives and seemingly rewrites the entire rulebook. We really have to ask, though, is that massive upfront discount hiding some serious long-term costs? Well, that's the core mystery we're unpacking right now.
Starting at just around £27,000 in the UK, the MG4 literally massively undercuts established electric hatchbacks. To give you some real context here, that is thousands of pounds cheaper than its closest rivals. This incredibly aggressive pricing sets the total stakes for our analysis today. How exactly do you build an EV this cheap without cutting some serious corners? Well, let's find out.
Section 1. The Affordable EV Disruptor.
On paper, the offer looks absolutely unbeatable. It gives you this compelling blend of sheer value and a massive 7 to 10-year warranty that strongly appeals to rational buyers. For a ton of people looking to finally transition from internal combustion engines to electric, this looked like the ultimate, completely risk-free entry ticket. You basically get a brand new electric car for the price of a used gas car, and it's totally backed by a massive warranty. Seriously, what could go wrong?
Section 2. Performance and battery range.
Now, what's actually really interesting about this car is its driving dynamics. Owners and reviewers alike just absolutely rave about it. As people always say, the car is a complete blast to drive. Thanks to its rear-wheel drive handling and a perfect 50-50 weight distribution, it feels super nimble and sporty, like a genuine joy on twisty roads. And if you opt for the dual-motor X-Power version, oh man, it delivers over 400 horsepower, literally giving you Porsche-level acceleration on a hatchback budget. It's crazy.
However, reality doesn't always quite match the spec sheet. MG actually uses two different battery chemistries, a super durable LFP or lithium iron phosphate in the base 51 kilowatt-hour model, and then a more energy-dense NMC battery in the larger 64 and 77 kilowatt-hour models. But across the board, real-world testing falls pretty significantly short of the official lab-tested WLTP claims. And if you're driving in cold winter weather, owners report that your range can easily plummet by an additional 30%. So that 329-mile claimed maximum is realistically way closer to 260 miles on a pretty good day.
Section 3. The software and safety flaws. The most heavily documented issue by consumer watchdogs is the MG Pilot Lane Keep Assist, or LKA. In theory, this is a completely standard safety feature that just gently nudges you back if you drift out of your lane. But in the MG4, the system severely struggles to interpret narrow, poorly marked, or wet roads, which, let's be honest, pretty much describes about 90% of European driving. And according to independent testers and actual owners, this isn't just a minor annoyance, it is a genuine safety hazard. Independent testers from organizations like Which and numerous owners have reported these absolutely terrifying instances of the steering wheel violently yanking the car toward oncoming traffic or literally toward ditches. We are not talking about a gentle vibration. It's a hard physical tug that the driver has to actively fight against. It is a really prime example of software calibration completely failing in real-world conditions. Furthermore, in their pursuit of this super modern, minimalist cabin, MG centralized almost all the controls onto a 10.25-inch touchscreen. Sounds cool, right? The problem is, the hardware running it is notoriously laggy. When you start the car up, it can literally take several seconds to boot up entirely, meaning you can't even turn on the window defroster immediately on a freezing morning. Drivers report having to tap multiple times just to adjust the climate control, which completely forces them to take their eyes off the road.
Section 4. Mechanical and dealership headaches.
Beyond just the digital screens, there's a pretty troubling list of early-life mechanical defects we're tracking. On early models, there was this widespread issue with oil actually weeping from the rear motor's reduction gear due to a flawed breather valve. We're also seeing reports of 12-volt batteries dying out of absolutely nowhere, leaving drivers totally stranded. You can add in complaints about incredibly thin paint that chips easily and flimsy interior plastics. But what makes these physical issues so much worse is the dealership experience. Owners are reporting terrible support, super long waits for parts, and, get this, being hit with 120-pound upfront diagnostic fees just to have them look at a car that is supposedly fully covered under a 7-year warranty.
So the crucial point here is what happens when you add all these software bugs and mechanical headaches together? Well, you get a completely dismal reliability score of 63.8% in the latest What Car Reliability Survey. This placed the MG4 absolutely dead last in its category. To put that completely into perspective, a lot of its direct rivals are scoring in the high 80s and even the 90s. Dead last? Yikes.
Section 5, MG4 versus VW ID3.
So how does this compromised bargain actually stack up against a true European benchmark like the Volkswagen ID3? When we put them head-to-head, the contrasts are really stark. The MG4 absolutely dominates on paper when it comes to raw specs. It boasts significantly more horsepower, much quicker acceleration, and of course that far lower price tag. But step inside the VW ID3 and you enter a completely different world. The ID3 offers far superior cabin refinement, incredible matrix LED lighting, a remarkably quieter ride, and slightly better electrical efficiency.
Breaking it down into these really key takeaways. The VW ID3 is just a much more relaxing, polished family car. You aren't constantly fighting the lane keep assist, the tech is way more stable, and the cabin materials feel built to last. However, the ID3 can be nearly 9,000 pounds more expensive depending on the trim. So ultimately, the MG4 wins easily on pure value and sporty driving fun, which makes this a super tough decision for buyers who are balancing their budget against their daily comfort.
Section 6. The Final Verdict.
Okay, let's pull all this data together for the final verdict on the MG4. The hype is absolutely real regarding the unbeatable entry price, the Porsche-level acceleration, and that reassuring 7-year warranty. But the reality is honestly a laundry list of daily compromises. The battery range falls significantly short in the real world, the safety tech, especially that lane keep assist, is dangerously unrefined, the infotainment is laggy, and you're frankly rolling the dice on mechanical oil leaks and poor dealership support, leaving it dead last in reliability. The verdict here? It's a spec sheet winner that basically offloads budget engineering compromises directly onto you, the owner.
So the absolute crucial question we leave you with today is this. When you look at the entire picture, are you willing to trade daily operational refinement for an incredible upfront bargain? Is that super cheap entry price genuinely worth the potential software battles and the dealership headaches? Or is daily peace of mind worth paying a premium for a competitor? Thank you so much for joining us on this explainer today. Think carefully about what truly matters most on your daily drive, and we'll see you next time.
Get the truth about your ride. Subscribe to AutoTruth today.